Okay, thank you for watching. Oh, there it is. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching here on YouTube live, if you happen to be watching live. If not, whenever you happen to click on this video. If you're new to my channel, I invite you to look at the homepage, the description, as well as I have well over 2,000 videos here. It's a combination of my content and other content creators, and it's a full range of information. So you will see anything ranging from ASMR, light language, Reiki, affirmations, to tarot readings, teachings, discussions, to spoken word, poetry, you name it, okay, to resources in terms of useful tools and information that may be useful for your recovery from narcissistic abuse. Okay, so as a survivor and a targeted individual, I do want to talk about something that back in 2017, I believe it was 2017 or 18, I did a live video here on YouTube, and it was the earlier years, and I was discussing narcissistic abuse recovery and some of the things that's necessary in order to do it. In that video, I may have to dig and find it and link it in this video later, okay? In that video, I was discussing how I had seasons where I was utterly frustrated because if you're a survivor of that type of abuse, the thing about narcissistic abuse is your whole body, your whole system has been compromised due to that. So your adrenal system, your immune system, metabolic system, all of these things have been hit. And in order to do any kind of so-called spirituality or ascension, Maslow's hierarchy of needs even specifies that you first have to secure the base of the foundation, which is safety and security, home, body. So one of the struggles of targeted individuals and those who are survivors of narcissistic abuse, especially, you're looking at, you hear people in the spiritual community, you hear people even in the religious community, and everyone has opinions and thoughts, and everybody's got some kind of program they're pushing, right? And then if you're not doing that, then it's like, well, then you're lazy, and then you don't want it, and then you're all of these different things. Now, of course, in some cases, there are people out there who may very well be those things. But when you're dealing with someone who may have CPTSD or PTSD, which happens of long-term trauma or long-term abuse, this has hit the person's body. And what is required in order to do any type of ascension work at all, or if you want to say ascension, dissension, alignment, it's all semantics. But what's required? Effort, time, energy, consistency. Okay, it's not going to fall out the sky. So that is required. Okay, in order to be able to sift through. And what does the survivor not have? Which is why I believe it is literally an attempt of genocide. It is an attempt to have people unalivened by way of abuse so that people's hands could stay clean, so that they could appear to be the powers that be, the individuals that are involved, so that they can appear to be not guilty. But by way of long-term exposing that person, that they won't have the mental, the physical capacity to be able to, first and foremost, you have to have money, do you not? You have to have some level of resources. You have to be able to do that. So, because everything that you see is a price, isn't it? Even as it pertains to if you're trying to go legal, or even those things that are all useful resources and tools, but shit costs money, nigga. Okay, I'm just gonna say it regular, because I'm like, that's just the realm that we're in, honey. Things cost money. So the survivor has been compromised. They've been imposed upon in terms of being able to have that stability, that first foundation that Abraham Maslow talked about in the hierarchy of needs. So what's going to happen? The video I did in 2017, I'm going to go back and link it here, maybe later if I can find it. Because I talked about that frustration, and if that's where you're at, just know you're listening to someone who was once upon a time there. And I kicked up dust. I did. I kicked up a lot of dust with, at the time, who I felt were like either my guides, ancestors. It didn't matter to me. I talked mad shit. I sure did. Because I was like, look, because I was a person who tried everything under the sun. See, that's what people don't know. Okay? And so I talked to mad shit. I was like, I wasn't saying that then, but I was like, anybody else happening? Motherfuckers, the single parents. Huh? Anybody got that? Trying to pay, because the realm in which we live in, because we have to account for the reality in the realms in which we are living. So it is what it is. And then the places in which are the land, okay, the United States of America, in my case. So, it's, shit costs money. You got to be paying bills. You got to work. You got to woo. And then it becomes the survivor is expended because they are trying to keep their head above water. It's not that they don't want to go on some lovely retreat in Hawaii, bitch, and whoop, and it's not that they don't want to go to Tibet and all these places and whatever the fuck, what I'm saying. It's not that they don't want to just be able to invest in this and that. It's, I have bills. I have a kid. And I got to deal with these penny ass, narcissistic, you know what I'm saying, for pennies. And then by the time, that is draining, and, because they're exposed to even further, more abuse and toxicity. So I remember having a rant, and that was back in 2017, and I said something along the lines of, look, it must be nice for people who do have it set up that way. I'm like, but ain't nobody got time for that. If I'm granted, I think I said that, I said, now, if I'm granted a situation in which then I can do those things, I don't have a problem, because that's one of my strong suits, is when I want something, I'm on something, I'm on it, nigga. I'm all in. Most people who have ever truly known me for any significant amount of time, they know it's true. Okay? So, however, you see what I'm saying? I just want you to know that if that is you, that's a normal part of the phase. Okay, because it's easy for these spiritualists and teachers and people who in theory, they didn't went to a little classy class and whoop, and they got them a little certificate, and what I'm saying, yada yada, and then their suffrage don't go any further than maybe they had a season where they couldn't they couldn't buy certain shit, and whatever, right? That's their suffrage. That's it. Okay, so they don't have a point of reference. And so for these types of people, it's very easy to then sit back and from their own framework, say, well, hey, I did the work. You didn't have shit to work through, dear, except what you had to work through was maybe your egoic ways, but you did not have a lifetime of trauma on your body. And you didn't have people coming for your life. So, shut up. Okay? It's easy to do. You know, just this and just that. You're not a lone survivor. Okay, if that's the phase, because you're doing the best you can do, and people don't really seem to understand that while they're telling you how you're doing it wrong and how you just need to do this and that, as if you ain't already attempting to do this or that. And then, you know what I'm saying, well, you're also then required to be in this physicality, and so you got bills to pay, and you know the people that you knew are all abusers and narcs, and you know what I'm saying. Nobody's accounting for that. So I believe that the system is set up that way. I do, especially in the United States. I believe that that's intentional. Okay? So that, you know, in cases where you won't just unaliven yourself, in cases where, you know, there are other plans don't work out the way they want, you know, in terms of you being unalivened and out of the way or incapacitated, then their hope is that the long-term, long game, long range is that by way of afflicting you to torture and torment and abuse, this is going to erode at you over time, but to stop you from being able to do this, to come into the alignment of truths and all this kind of stuff for yourself to balance out, to whoop their ass. Good. I mean, come back. Come back. No, I mean, to bring justice to the situation. Now here is where it's going to get, somebody's going to be like, oh, I'm doomed, Bloomy. Actually, no. So let me tell you why. I told you that I had a rant in 2017. Thus was one of the initial dark nights of the soul for me. 2017, 2018, okay? And since that rant, there's definitely been a lot that took place, a lot of chaos, a lot of crazy, a lot of trauma, a lot of drama. However, as I continue to set intentions, because I continue to simply, hear me out, I continued to simply do what I could do. I continued to simply utilize in every juncture the resources in which I had at my disposal at that time. And I did the best I could, and I gave it all that I had with what I had in these now moments. And what started to happen over time is I had different seasons and moments where I was granted glimpses and opportunities to invest. Okay, I was initially granted an opportunity to get some major ascension clearing done on myself or my son. Okay, I want to say this is maybe back in 2020, 2019, 2020. And, you know, I took opportunities as they rose. So we went through the COVID, you know, financial things. I did what I could along the way. That's the good news, is that there was still progress as I really just capitalized on the resources that I had until I was able to get more. So I used YouTube. I utilized all those things. I started researching stuff, and I started implementing what I could. I became a part of survivor groups, and I implemented that as I could. You know, of course, in some cases, I started seeing therapists. I implemented that as I could. I started trying to find supplements, okay? Because again, remember, your brain and your body and adrenal system has taken a severe hit by way of long-term exposure. Your body needs to help. Base one, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It don't do no good to have all this wealth of knowledge and ascension or enlightenment and understanding if you can't, your body is wrecked. You won't even be able to see and perceive properly, and even if you did, you won't be able to do much with it. So the body, so I started taking supplements. I talked about some of the supplements on this video I did in 2017. So what I would do is when I had the resources to do so, I would invest in these various different supplements to help my body. And I believe that what some of that did for me, even though I still bitched and moaned about the situation, I believe that it still provided some level of help to my body to push like the blow of what was being done to me and to grant extension. You see what I'm saying here? Because I was doing this along the way. Okay? So this is what I want to say to all spiritualists out there and to all teachers and gurus and so forth. Hear me out. With all due respect, and listen, I don't have a problem with giving honor where honor is due. I don't have a problem with acknowledging and being even grateful for the gifts and talents of people and the programs and the things in which you all are creating to provide for people. But I need you to hear me. There are many people who have truly and sincerely gone through narcissistic abuse, whether you know that or not, whether you can relate to that or not, and their bodies have really taken a severe hit, and they are all alone. And everywhere they turn, they're being given some kind of a program, then they're being given some kind of, for 1990, prices, which they understand that things cost money. But what you all need to understand is there's a whole collective of people out there, they don't have the resources, and those are the people who don't get helped. Because if they have to choose between do they pay their rent or do they give you $200 for your program, if they have to choose, do they buy groceries for the month? Somebody's gonna say, well, they can just save up. Well, survivors' lives are, I'm telling you, the level of sabotage that's on these types of people's lives, they don't really have that opportunity to do that, because somebody's going to simply say, well, you just put $20 a month away and you can plan in 6 months. And you know what? In certain situations, that's a doable thing. The targeted individuals, first and foremost, they're still being abused. Their children are still being abused because their children are targeted, their children are attacked. Okay? People are still sabotaging their finances. They're sabotaging their opportunities. They're creating, manufacturing towers and catastrophes so that these people will always have to juggle between thoughts and finances. So what you people need to know is that there's a whole collective of folks out there that does not get this help or this support, or they're basically left to die or left to the abuser and left to a whole lot of years or time extended because they don't have the resources or the monies in order to do that, barely hanging on to life, barely hanging on to their capacities, and still responsible for taking care of if they have children. So here's where I'm going, here's where I step in. I told myself back then in 2017 that I told my ancestors, I told myself, if I manage to actually more than survive, but thrive, if I manage to be able to heal through this and put myself back together and all of these things, that I have intention on creating something for the population of people, that phase of recovery. The phase of recovery when you're just barely unraveling yourself. You're just going through the no contact. You're at the initial phases of it. You're just realizing how much your body has taken a hit. And usually when people's lives are at rock bottom due to these betrayals, these traumas, and this abuse. I have intention on providing whatever I can to assist that population, because I mean all populations need the help, but if you have resources and money, it's just a matter of you using your resources and money to do the things that you need to do, okay, which in your case is still a challenge because your body has still taken a hit, but it's not as much of a challenge as it is for the person and the collectives that their bodies have taken the hit on top of the lack of resources. So another thing that I want to say is, so before we're casting judgment and before we're casting an assumptions on individuals, some of us, it will serve some of us to get well versed on the effects of long-term narcissistic abuse and what that looks like manifested. Because not all abuse equals the same. Not everybody has gone through the same level of severity. Some people's abuse stopped in childhood. Okay? So if, you know, I understand if y'all don't want to be out there doing no pro bono, you know what I'm saying, pro bono work, respect, you know, because you know, you're worthy and deserving of your skill set and of the services you provide. Okay? So if that's the case, at minimum, try to be more positive and supportive and encouraging, okay, and speak in that manner towards people who cannot afford your services. Do not assume automatically that these people are lazy. Do not assume automatically that they're karmic. Do not assume automatically, okay, that they just don't want to do the work or they just want to blow their resources on other shit. Do not assume that about people who can't go to your retreat and pay for your $1,000 ritual service, and you know, all of these things are people who can't do 5 hours a day of some bullshit when they're barely making it, and whatever ounce of energy that they can muster up with their wrecked bodies is to take care of the necessities of their lives. So do not assume that and don't speak that. Okay? Expand your understanding and keep at what you're doing, you know. Your services is worth what they're worth, but at least don't assume, don't project. Don't assume that. There are some people who they would if they could. Okay? They would if they could. I am here to help such people. And as I continue, I plan to even do even more. Because see, the system and the powers that be, the people that are being exploited are the people who don't have the resources to do anything for themselves. And they bank on that. People like my son. Another thing about spirituality, you know, that kind of bugs me a little bit is we have all of these glorious videos. Now, what do you say about the disabled community? What does that mean for people who cannot do these things? That bugs me. Because I'm like, that sounds pretty and great. But, and to me, the powers that be, the toxic powers that be, they know it full well. And they know that even these so-called spiritualists, these so-called religious motherfuckers are all on the same shit. They don't give a fuck. Because see, the reality is that some folks like my son, The people who can't speak for themselves, the people who can't get up and explain to you that they had this dream or this weird nasty cunt and this weird old motherfucker. You know, they can't, and they don't all have a mother like my son. Okay? That's gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna whoop these hoes ass, bitch. I'm finna get these niggas. If it's the last thing I do, nigga, you can bet your bottom dollar to them and all the motherfuckers. I want the ops, bitch. I want all the toxic, sick niggas. I want the FBI, the CIA, bitch. I want the managers. I want the crackhead retard that wanted a Walmart gift card. I want them all. And have full intention on doing that too. But not everybody has that. What happens to them? They can't do all this beautiful ascension, shadow work, bitch, and journal bitch. They don't deserve none of this. Shadow work my ass. Get these niggas is what y'all need to do, and stop sabotaging these motherfuckers' lives and making them susceptible to these retards. That's what you need to do. Okay. Okay. I plan to assist these populations. Because shit in this realm, shit costs money and takes time and energy and effort and ability, and narcissistic abuse do away at all of these things. People don't even know what, people say the word trauma, but they don't know what the fuck. People out here using the word trauma just like they're using every other language, but they don't really know what that does physiologically, psychologically, mentally, emotionally to a being. And now you're going to tell this being that they need to try harder. That's your help. That's your expertise. That's what your degree and your certificate. And when you went to motherfucker to the retreat, bitch, that's what they tell you. Okay. See, I'm here to challenge it all. I have every intention on challenging it all. The holes in this shit. The matrix, bullshit, tricks, the tricks. Meanwhile, they're harvesting off of populations that can't do for themselves, that are being sabotaged and marginalized, that are being targeted and infiltrated intentionally. So onlookers out here who maybe you are not knowledgeable, I'm trying to help you too. Okay, so that if you're ones that are passing judgment because your life was not set up as such, you don't have a point of reference. I understand that, but hopefully some of the things that I'm sharing is going to help give you a different view of things that you don't have a point of reference to be able to relate to before you're casting judgment and deciding that you think someone's just lazy and good for nothing, because after all black people just, wants to sit up and eat chicken and have gold rims and gold teeth and loud music and big screen TVs and Cadillac Escalades. And after all black people is just lazy and they just looking for a come up and they just looking for somebody to take care of them, and after all, that is not always the case. I understand these stereotypes and stigmas, and of course you do have populations of people that are that way, but that makes it even harder for those who have sincerely survived some serious shit. And because of their creed and color and ethnicity and nationality, then they get put in this box of, oh, they're just lazy, or they just crazy. They're just good for nothing. They just want to sit up on their duff. And the truth of the matter is, it's the reverse. It's their abusers. It is the abusers who are in that energy. They just want to be able to sit up on their duff and benefit off of other people's energies. They just want to sit up on their duff and get the benefits of somebody else's energy and off of somebody else's suffrage or trauma or pain. It's the other way around. They are powers that be and the idiots that work with them. These are the individuals looking for something for nothing. Because this is why they go and start making these nefarious deals to begin with. Because they too goddamn lazy to get off their raggedy ass and invest in their own energy properly. So they want to take a deal from this raggedy hoe to be a fucking makeshift neighborhood fucking watch bitch. Yeah, I'm going off. Because this is what survivors and the targeted individuals live with while everybody's in here having meetings and programs. While everybody is over here having Zoom meetings for 30,000 years, while the targeted population gets stolen from and taken advantage of and abused and misused over and over again. While the so-called spiritualists just want to kumbaya and want your $1,000. And even church on the religious side, because like I said, I'm challenging all of it. To me, what's most fascinating is in these spiritual communities as well as religious communities, that people have all of these giftings and discernments, and they spirit guides is on tail bitch, and they ancestors and all, and that's fine. But here is where I start to have a problem. So with all that, how come they couldn't discern these fucking narcs? How come they couldn't tell who was who? How come they couldn't tell that these narc motherfuckers were the abusers? How come they're not able to sense, feel, and know or discern? How come that didn't kick in? Of who was stealing from who, and who was violating who, and who was plotting and scheming against who, and who had, issues and insecurities and secret jealousies. How come the giftings and these abilities stop there? But they can discern any and everything that doesn't come in the packages and the performances in which, but they can't discern who the narcissist is. They cannot discern who the abuser is. They cannot discern who the liar is, who the thief is. They cannot discern any of that. Their giftings go offline as it pertains to that. Because all a bitch and a nigga gotta do is sashay in their office, in their building, in their business, singing their praises and purchasing what they're selling. This is why I'm calling it. This is why. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call it bullshit. Because then your gift should have told you that this is a lying hoe right here. This bitch right here, she a lying hoe, she a thieving, narcissistic hoe. This nigga right here, he a hoe too. He a thieving, narcissistic nigga. So your anointments and your fucking ordinations and the 12th degree, 30th Mason, first deacon, bitch, of the last church age, all things saved. Whatever the fuck. should have told you you're staring at the abuser, idiot. Now, I have every intention on helping the population who has had to deal with all of that kind of shit while they're attempting to rebuild from this ongoing, incessant abuse. All these so-called experts and everybody want to mentor them. It's like, bitch, I don't need that. What we need is justice. It ain't a matter of needing that. Some of the collectives of target individuals surpass these people, believe it or not. But the illusion and the trick, because of all of the things that has happened, like, we don't need that. What we need, bitch, is motherfuckers to stop trying to control narratives and provide some real support and some real assistance here. Some practical shit. And space, given a space, because that's something that was taken from them. When you've had people that's been targeted, that means their space has been infiltrated, meaning those of you who have the luxuries of feeling safe and secure and have not been targeted by this level of violations, you don't have a point of reference. These individuals are space. People not exploiting their vulnerability, because that's what survivors run into. A bunch of motherfuckers exploiting, because this realm is full of narcissists. It's full of opportunists, even if they're not a fucking narcissist. Looking for people to take advantage of. I got judgment on every last soul in being who has operated that way towards my son and me. And I don't really care who they are either. It's like, you sorry motherfucker. That's how I feel. I'm like, no, you is a sorry hoe. You a sorry hoe and you a sorry nigga. Okay? With your so-called gifted ass. Yeah. Playing in me and my son's energy comes with a hefty penalty, baby. Using his energy, I require some of that. A whole lot. And I will have what I require. Getting jealous in my energy, because people get weird every fucking time. I got judgment on that too. Like, oh, you sorry hoe. Wait for it. And the reason why this fury exists is because, again, the targeted populations, to me, it's attempted genocide. To stop them from being able to do what everyone else is, granted to do without intrusion, which is creating a safe and healthy place and space and environment. This is in all realms and in all elements. It's physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's financial, it's all of it. Target individuals, the disabled, they can sense and feel into all of this hatred, all of the hatred, all of the jealousy, all of these weirdos. It's affecting them. That's why I'm calling bullshit on all the spiritualists and so-called religious motherfuckers and all that. Like, you full of shit, nigga. Shut the fuck up. Go get your cigarettes. Do what you do best. Be toxic. Do what you do best. Be a sorry motherfucker. That's what you're good for. Be a thieving nigga and a thieving bitch. That is what you are designed to do. Go and do what you're created to do. Put down them damn Bibles and sage bundles because you're full of shit. Just shut up and shut up. I'm talking about what the Lord told you, and just go be toxic. Go do what you do best. Which is be an agent of chaos. Continue at that. That's what you're good at. That's what you're hardwired for. Agent of chaos. Be an agent of chaos. Be an agent of deception. That's what you were born for. That's what you are. That's what these people are. Fulfill your mission to be a big old heap load pile of shit. People like me are going to make sure you're dealt with before you leave. And that's justice to the targeted populations before me, for my son, and many like him that go unheard and uncared for. So I have full intention to bring down the wrath on behalf of the blood that's been shed. I'm gonna bring it, nigga. In all elements. You heard me correctly. All elements, all dimensions, all realms. If it's the last thing I do, it's getting done. To you enablers and you flying monkeys and you sellouts, to you I say the same thing. Shut up. Okay? You're disgusting. Stop going around talking about Black Lives Matter. You should really say, your life matter. Your black life, your black ass. Stop going around. Stop the bullshit. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. To you happiness haters, flying monkeys, enablers, same thing. All of you, shut up. You're full of shit. You weirdo stalker people, all of you, shut up. Put your Bible down, nigga. Put your Bible up. You're a weirdo stalker. Put your shit up today, bitch. Close your shit. It should be closed. It should say, nigga, closed indefinitely, bitch. Just shut up. Because you out here helping these abusers. Most of you, some of you are the abusers. So shut up. Targeted individuals have gone on these journeys. They have went full circle, full spectrum, all ranges, and they done seen it all, baby. Oh, you gotta get desperate for it, and oh, you gotta get broke, and oh, they did all that. Let me tell you, see, that's what I'm saying. You all are full of shit. And ignorant. People that have been traumatized, you sitting here screaming in their face and fucking weird ass. And they gotta still go home and deal with these fucking retards in their lives for more inflictions, bitch. No real help there. Telling them that one day my ass, one day. Oh, while everybody else have the cozy life one day while they just sit up in the suffrage. Now, back to what I'm saying. Understand, for those of you who are more innocent, you know, and you don't mean any harm, you just, you know, you just don't know. Well, understand that people who have gone through this kind of stuff, and yea, I even say who are still going through this type of stuff, it is complex. Hopefully this elicits some more compassion or empathy and less of your criticism, assumptions, and judgments. Because the targeted individuals have enough people and enough that is opposing them and coming against them constantly. They don't need you onlooker spectators with your limited frame of reference, knowledge and understanding, also projecting your judgments. Targeted individuals have they've gone full circle because of what they've gone through, because of them being targeted, because of the unreal and hideous nature of what they've experienced. So they went on these journeys of religion and spiritualities and all these things, because what do you do when you feel like when you're subject to constant abuse or constant sabotage? Spiritual, energetic, and covert. People trying to poison them. They can't even go eat at a restaurant without somebody trying to fucking poison them. They can't have friendships and lovers without somebody getting to somebody to attempt to poison them. They deal with all of the stuff of life like everybody else, just your standard. People don't like you for whatever reason, so they're dealing with those things. People don't like them because they're different. People don't like them because they're spiritual. People don't like them because they trigger something in them. So they deal with this constantly. People don't like them because they refuse to be controlled by them, or they're not going to bow and cater to their bullshit. So chill out on all of that. Understand that there are things in this life that you might not have understood or experienced and might be out of your framework because you may only have theory and book knowledge on a topic. Living it is something totally different.